Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a great Saturday night. And I just had to think it is Saturday. Okay, it is Saturday. I hope a lot of you are like out and missing this. But I'm really happy to be here with you and just episode 11. We just keep going, right? So good evening and hi, Dad. You need to watch all the others, Dad, but still, you'll like this one, maybe. I need to turn off chat because now I'm going to be nervous. Anyway, so I was talking with a coworker today about this whole process, and I kind of like had a little bit of a connection. I was just, it's so uncomfortable seeing how I used to think 12 years ago and how I've changed now or since then. It's really uncomfortable. Like, I kind of want to stop the book so often and just go, okay, that's okay, fine, whatever, but this is how that's shifted, or this is how that's become more nuanced, or this is how I've completely changed my mind about that. And I know that there is some of that in the book, but no, even now, I look at it and I think, wow, like, I think of it in different terms. And so I mentioned in the very first video I did that this is sort of a bridge to my next project, being I'm working on the Oat Project workbook, which sounds really boring until you realize that it's called the Church of Wild handbook or catechism, something like that. And so this is kind of a way of looking back in order to look forward and move forward in the way that I want to. And so I thought of it today. I will be using kind of how I've changed since that book as fodder and a good example of how we all change our approach to the wild and to how we judge what's wild in ourselves and in others in our world. So thank you again for being here with me. I will continue to say this, to repeat it so you understand. That is, I wanted to read my book in order to move forward, but I think I know that I would have picked it up and it would have been, I would have read for a bit and then I would have just been really uncomfortable. I have to feel, I feel everything I felt back then. And I especially have to feel it to read it to you, re-feel it. But I think I would have set it down if I had not been meeting you here. And so thank you for doing this with me. I hope you're getting something out of it. I would love to know if you want to message me, or several people have actually. It's been humbling and amazing. So thank you. So it is been alive about 3 or 4 minutes, and I think we'll go ahead and start. Also, last thing, for those who haven't joined me before, there is a link in the description that is to the YouTube playlist. After we get off here, I download the video. I wait, it takes about half an hour, and then I upload it to YouTube, and that takes about half hour. So it's uploaded within about an hour every night, and you can just click on the playlist, and you can. I have a friend who listens to them as she took her walk. You don't have to watch me. So yeah, okay, let's get into it. I am reading from my book, The Oat Project: How I Faced My Fear and Came of Age in One Wild Summer. It was in 2007, and not whiskey. This is my Earl Grey tea with molasses because I'm kind of on a I'm on a bender for that right now. And I did 24 things in one summer that I had never done before. In the event page, there's also a link to the book itself if you want to read along and see how often I mess up. So, okay, here we go. Chapter 12. There's the book. Okay. The Church and Dancing Fools. My Rebel Mother. Where did you get that move, Janae? My mother asked. Maybe we danced when I was younger and we lived in, maybe we danced when I was younger and we lived in Oregon or Ohio, but the visceral joy of getting down to the Pointer Sisters with my mom when I was in high school in West Texas eclipses other memories. We watched Solid Gold religiously. And often when my dad was working at the church, hi, Dad, we put on music and turned it up loud enough to vibrate the walls and danced and danced and danced. I can still feel our collective glee. I moved my body to the beat instinctively, with no real plan, as did my mom. Parentheses. And for those of you joining for the first time, parentheses, when I say that, it means that it's a comment or context from current times, not 2007. So it's either context or explanation or something. Parentheses. This joy still takes over when I dance with someone and ascend into mutual, silly, pseudo-modern dance. We were rebelling in that living room, sinning. My mother, the preacher's wife, was supposed to squelch my desire to move sexually. According to Nazarene doctrine, dancing leads to the breakdown of moral inhibitions, which leads to lewd, uncontrolled behavior, which leads to all manner of sins. Parentheses. I wish I'd been braver, dragged my mom out on some dance floor to shake her booty with me before she died 4 years after the project. We lived in Oregon my 8th and 9th grade years. The Nazarene Church doesn't allow dancing or going to dances. I sneaked to one in Oregon. Near the end of my 9th grade year, I was told that we were going to be moving and I had to keep it a secret. I crushed on Greg, the tall, blonde basketball player, class president. I asked my friend if I could stay the night at her house so when I came over, we could go to the dance, skipping my parents' approval. This was the only time I ever sneaked out. Greg asked me to slow dance, the last of the night. We swayed, and he leaned down to whisper, Janae, I want you to save the first dance of next year for me. Pain, 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 and heartache. I couldn't tell him why I wouldn't be there. Did I break his heart? Did he remember me when I didn't show up? I have no idea. If you know Greg from Roseburg, Oregon, you tell him thank you. And Max, his brother, was my best friend out there. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for that moment, Greg. I went to my senior prom in Texas with a good friend. Perhaps he had a crush on me, but I could never tell. We had a fun time before the dance, but it went downhill. The band played 3 slow songs all night. Bill, my crush, had promised me a slow dance. He sat 6 feet from me all night at the next table and never looked my way, never asked me to dance. I grew increasingly disappointed, sad, and frustrated with him and my date, who kept saying, "This is great, isn't it? This is really great." I wanted to say, "No, it's not," but I didn't. I was nice back then. Journal. I'm feeling exhausted, crabby, fat, the whole shebang. I hate shopping for specific events, and now clubbing is tomorrow, and I've procrastinated as usual because my body isn't how I like it. That's the only stupid reason. If the shape of my flab did not insist on such special treatment to look attractive clothed, if most of what I put on fit and flattered because of my body rather than in spite of it, then I'd like shopping, especially to dress up. I'm panicking, I suppose. I must keep writing, not buying stupid clothes. It feels like one more thing on a long list of things to do, not fun. I just want to stop and rest, but I can't. Tomorrow's the night. Clothed for clubbing. I had to go to the mall. I hate the mall. But a friend who often went dancing recommended a store there for club-worthy outfits. I needed a bra, too. A real bra, not for breastfeeding. Victoria's Secret, here I come. Having and raising our kids had felt like a time warp. I couldn't remember how to be pretty, with only a vague, movie-driven idea of what to wear clubbing. My body had not been my own for years. What am I doing? I don't even know how to live. Though I was 30 pounds heavier than when I met Jack, I had finally begun the long process of beginning to be comfortable with my body again, even more in some ways than when I was skinny. I was still mired in how I thought I should look, but I had begun to really try to rewrite my thoughts. So, having up-to-date clothes, unrelated to the seesaw of pregnancy and nursing, sounded great. The store looked promising, but even the right sizes didn't fit. My breasts looked saggy or threatened to pop buttons off of every single thing. I asked an older-looking, perhaps from her orange tan, clerk what she recommended for clubbing. The dressier the better, with lots of black, she said. With her enthusiastic help, I tried on more, but nothing worked. The lady had been helpful, so I bought a super short jean skirt I loved but knew Jack would hate. So assertive, Janae. Parentheses. I never returned it and wear it all the time now. I am old and fat and impossible. Despair walked me to Victoria's Secret, but I determined to hope. After all, I was about to be in capable hands. I had no idea what my boobs had been doing, had felt for years like they were acting all on their own, with a life quite apart from the one connected to my chest. But Victoria's Secret's people were pros. They could help me to the other side of post-nursing bra mountain. Hi, I said to a clerk. I need to get measured for a bra. She frowned and said, our bra fitter isn't here tonight. She sighed, looking all of 15 with her raccoon eyeliner and pale lip-glossed pout, and said, I could make an appointment for next week. Panic. It's for an event, so I can't wait a week. No one here can measure me, I asked. Are you kidding me? This is the Temple of Bra. Her face looked confused but brightened. Well, she said, I could measure you. She tried to smile. You have to be over 17 to work at the mall, right? Exuding the confidence I knew she needed, I said, yes, thank you so much. How bad can it be? She fumbled the tape measure and proceeded to measure me right there, next to the cash register, with all my layers of clothing still on, nursing bra included. 34D, she said, as though talking to herself. Really? I asked. That's a nice number. I thought it would be larger, but I'll take it. Sweet. She examined her tape measure again and declared, yes, 34D. I doubted her method, but figured she was the pro, so off I went to the 34D sales bins. Oh, such prettinesses. I spent half an hour filling my arms with beautiful, somewhat practical 34Ds. In the changing room, I took off my shirt, hid my grubby, stretched out 38E nursing bra, and got to work. 2 bras in, I knew I must have misheard the clerk, blaming myself, as usual. 2 more, I was cursing her. Maybe my boobs had changed after nursing our first 2 children, but I had only noticed it now, after Leo. They were like water balloons, not quite full enough to grasp, like slippery gel tubes that squirt out of your hand if squeezed too hard. When they filled with milk, it felt like the deep hum of fluorescent gymnasium lights when first flipped on. Like that noise. Wong. That's what it feels like. They entered the room before me, taut and begging for release. But after Leo nursed, as he just had, they deflated. It was only standing there alone in a changing room at the mall, under pressure, in a hurry, nervous, that I realized how profoundly my boobs had changed. Heck, I hadn't ever paid attention to what they were like uncovered, and Jack never said much about them. Who is that me in the mirror? The 34 band was tight enough to constrict my breath, though I could close the clasp. When I tried to fit my boobs into the cups, my flesh would not cooperate, flowing over the sides and middle and bottom. I kept hoping. I did. I tried on every single one of the 20 bras I had gleefully grabbed. By the end of the pile, I burned with a hatred of bras, of that neophyte clerk, of the Victoria's Secret system and their garish, foam-pumped-up store. Pink. I hate pink. Why did I even try? Of my willful, rebellious breasts, and of myself. I hated myself. I could not muster the energy or calm or courage to find help or to try on another size. It was all over. I had to get out of there. On the way home at 9 p.m., my anger blossomed. I drove too fast, pounding the steering wheel, crying and cussing, yelling. I knew I was angry more at myself, but blamed it all on Victoria's Secret and society in general. I berated myself for not exercising more during all 3 pregnancies. I railed against the system of our society. Mothers isolated in their little creches of lives, no help from community, expected to do it all on their own. I screamed at the expectations of beauty stacked against the mother's body. I wanted to go home and cry myself to sleep, content in my indignation. But I must go clubbing tomorrow, because I said I would. I cannot let them down. And I had nothing to wear. I must try again. Now what's open? I ended up at Ross. I sat in the parking lot, staring at the store, knowing I had less than an hour before they closed. My face and eyes were red from crying, but it didn't matter. I had to go in. Sorry. Drink. Excuse me. Hi, everybody. I had to go in. And lo and behold, it was that rare day where enough of what I tried on looked good that I had to eliminate options instead of settling. I spent too much, but found possible home runs. Phew. I got home, nursed Leo, and slept. The next day flew, and then Jack was home from work, and I asked him to help me figure out which outfit to wear. I tried them on like a little kid, coming out of the bedroom to show him each one, so excited with my finds. But he eliminated the first 3 shirts and the short jean skirt, as I knew he would. Drat. My mood dove again as we settled on subtly sexy. Dark, tight blue jeans, black high-heeled sandals, black cotton see-through lace shirt with, the kicker, a hot pink bra. I amped up the eye makeup and went all hot pink frosty lip balm. It was time to go. I was both optimistic and resigned about how I looked and ready to have fun. I kissed my children and husband goodbye and went off to be a wild dancer in Denver. I was tired of pushing myself to, quote, have fun for this project, tired of the preparation it took to get ready. My mother always said, fake joy is better than real depression. She was from the South. But from a physiological standpoint, she was right. Smiling creates endorphins in the brain, improving mood, lifting depression. Time to fake it a little. I got in the car and smiled, thinking of all those times I danced with my mother, smiling for the fun I'd be having in a few short hours. Surely I'll have fun. In the car on the way to pick up Aaron, I listened to 311, thinking perhaps I'd learn dance moves to try at their concert at Red Rocks later in the summer. I can't wait to dance with my whole body to this music. Aaron's house, a sweet, purple West Side bungalow with an herb garden, rock paths, and a small, lush lawn was exactly how I wanted our yard to look. It made me want to skip the dancing and hang out there instead. And then Erin walked out and my mood nosedived again. Dang, she looks perfect. She knows exactly how to dress for dancing. She was glitzy perfect. Fishnet stockings, black. I should have worn fishnets. I actually own fishnets. Patent leather heels, snug camisole with a tiny black shrug over a short green velvet skirt. Dang. I was so thankful Erin wanted to do this task with me. She started going dancing in her teens and knew the ropes. She remains one of the nicest, most genuine people I know. But in that moment, feeling downright frumpy next to her, she threw me back to being the brainy brunette boring friend of the blonde bombshell. Friend after friend had been the blonde girl the boys liked. Sure, I looked fine, cute, but next to tan, 2 sizes smaller, blonde Erin, I felt like the ugly cousin. We headed to Poor Richard's for supper. I saw a few friends who said I looked cute. Are they just being nice? I feel like a black hole next to a star. Erin had even smoothed on glitter lotion. Dang it all. Growing up, my mom had often responded to my insecurity with, "But you're so cute, Janae." I always said, "But I don't want to be cute. I want to be pretty." We took our time eating, and I started getting antsy, thinking of the, quote, "doors open at 9 p.m., imagining a long line. We left around 8:30 p.m. with cheers of, "Good luck, Janae," ringing, and a thumbs up from the guitarist on stage. It struck me, almost physically, that because, not in spite of doing this erstwhile project, I had discovered a community of friends who didn't judge, who approved of this journey, and were ready to help and support. I smiled inside, warmed, encouraged, and less afraid. That part makes me cry because you people, that's where it all started. Thank you. Report. The Church of Dance. Excuse me. Cheers. Okay. Colorado Springs does have nightclubs, mostly in one block downtown. But when the rock concert task felt like a flop, I decided to head north to big city Denver. Everyone I asked insisted I go to a club called The Church. So apt. A converted cathedral. It was the place they all reminisced about or had always wanted to try. And my friend Alan, with his 311 recommendation and porn musings, had said that night's DJ Irene was worth the drive. On the way up, storm clouds dumped. Give me dry pavement and I'm Mario Andretti. But in rain, snow, or God forbid, ice, I turn into a granny. The day before, my kids and I were driving on I-25 and a silver BMW convertible came within 1 inch of swiping us. The driver dangerously wove in and out of traffic at 20 miles over the speed limit, off the highway at a stoplight where he turned left and we went straight. I flipped him off. The first time I'd ever done so where the other driver could actually see me. I was indignantly telling Erin all about it when, on the south end of Denver, my car hydroplaned. Colorado's high desert roads aren't designed to shed sudden downpours. I almost hit a truck, then regained control. Phew. We got to the church at about 9:30. The streets around it empty. No line in front. Was Alan wrong about DJ Irene? We sat in the car worrying over what to take in for the night. Just like we dawdled before going into the strip club, Janae, Erin said, laughing. Excuse me. I grinned and we settled on using my pockets for ID and credit cards and her fishnet stockings for her cigarettes and my lip balm. Let's do this, I said. 3 guys manned the bottom of the steps. The tall, skinny one, in a newsboy cap and headset, asked for our IDs. Laughing and loud, Aaron said, "We're old enough. Wondering what a 40-year-old is doing here?" They stared at us. I cringed. Why did she have to draw attention to our age? I wondered if they would tell others, "Those are the old chicks." Up the steps and through immense wooden double doors, we walked into a vestibule, alcoves glowing with red candles. Gorgeous. And empty, except for staff. But the space impressed itself upon my soul. To my Protestant, preacher's daughter eyes, it seemed both pagan and holy. I was taught that Catholics were dancing, drinking, smoking, idol worshippers who only might make it into heaven, and if so, it was most decidedly not where we would be. I found it appropriate to be dancing in a Catholic church. In the former sanctuary, with its flying buttresses, a stained glass Jesus and saints looked down from 20 feet above the main dance floor. A bar to the right, and another where the altar used to be, were empty, but ready for the masses. Some might think this sacrilegious, but King David danced, did he not? Did Jesus dance too? Probably not like I'm about to move my body, but maybe. We explored the empty halls and stairwells of the 3 or 4 stories, and I worried it would remain empty all night. That I'd have to force myself to dance on an empty floor. My ineptitude cleared it all. On the top deck overlooking Denver, we ordered cosmopolitans and waited hopefully for the crowds. "So, how long have you been dancing, Aaron?" I asked. "Oh, God, forever," she said. "There used to be great underage clubs in Colorado Springs, you know." "There are underage clubs?" I asked. "Even now? Would I have gone to them?" Maybe, I don't know, she sighed. She sighed. "It's changed so much." "How old did you have to be to get in?" I asked, wishing I had known her back then. "I started going when I was 16, she said. She laughed. "I think you have to be 18 now, but it was the 80s back then." Would we have been friends? She was surely one of the cool kids. I would have been a pastor's kid outsider. Would I have rebelled with a friend like Aaron? "What did you like about it?" "I just loved dancing, moving my body. Still do," she said. "Were there drugs and stuff back then? Like," I thought for a moment of my upbringing's slippery slide to hell. "Did the dancing or atmosphere lead to trying things that were bad for you, like drugs?" "It was there, I guess, sure," she said, nodding, "but not overtly, and most kids didn't need that stuff to hang out and dance. It was much more innocent back then." "I've told you before I only ever danced with my mom in our living room when my dad was at the church," I said, "to the Pointer Sisters." We both said, "Jump," and laughed. "To the 80s, I said as we clinked our drinks. At about 10:30, we could hear people clomping up and down the stairs, more noise from below, so we went down to the main hall. Maybe 50 people stood around and danced. It still felt empty. In those few minutes watching them all, the first DJ's style began to bug me. No let up, no pauses, no arc. Maybe he considers himself an artist, but the way it feels, he has a lot to learn. No ups and downs, no sustains. Even never having been in a place like this, I knew how important it was to change the tempo by half a beat every so often so people could keep dancing, so bodies could keep going. After half an hour of unimaginative relentlessness, I wanted to smack some variety into him. We were drawn to whooping from one of the stairwells. The cave-like basement was packed, the crowd surrounding a center space for breakdancers. Breakdancers! I am watching breakdancers in person, not on TV. I couldn't stop grinning. A guy doing one-armed handstands looking like a question mark. Another guy flaring his legs out like a gymnast on a pommel horse, then spinning on his back. A guy squatted on the circle's edge, studying every dancer. I caught his eyes on me with a measuring stare. I wonder what he sees. A girl in tight jeans. Oh, sorry. A girl in tight jeans, a striped boat neck top, and a newsboy cap took the stage, and she was amazing. Next into the ring was an Asian girl whose butt I envied. She didn't breakdance much, but she reminded me of young Michael Jackson somehow, a symphony of subtleties. Still pretty, but as impressive in her moves as the guys were stirring in their athleticism. Every dancer was amazing to me, worthy of standing ovations. I almost clapped, but when no one else did, I squelched it. Some yelled, but the norm seemed to be to not react. Why? Blasé equals cool? Where did cool start? The 80s? No, long before. Is it biological? Chilled out hunters were most successful, I'd suppose. Does emotional suppression yield stoicism or an atrophied emotional range? Street cred? True wildness equals ability to control one's reactions. Certain people are able to fake that control convincingly. Do colder climes breed reserve? Must it also come to us from our British heritage, the stiff upper lip, from the dominance of patriarchy? This room is full of people communicating complete emotional detachment, quintessential cool. Are they all as excited as just going to take a pause. I was thinking faster than I can talk. Are they all as excited as I am, but faking it? The habit of the facade so powerful it takes copious alcohol to break it down? I stood there, delighted, but still analyzing outside the experience. You can dance. Let's go see what's happening upstairs, Aaron said. If she hadn't been there, thank you again. If she hadn't been there, I would have gotten stuck in this one room. Like at the strip club, she seemed to know how to draw me out of my discomfort to immerse in the experience, out of my own head. Her face seemed delighted. I tried to think of something in my youth that would evoke such joy. Maybe singing. Sports photography? Not church. For Aaron, dancing was both fun now and a rich memory of young adulthood. I had nothing like that. It was fun to see her so happy. By this time was rising the fear that I could not dance, that I would look an utter fool, that those beloved moves from Dancing with My Mother were abominable and stupid and ugly and dumb. This fear had been thrumming through me from the minute we had left, intensifying as I watched others. Panic bubbled the drink in my gut. I walked in front of Aaron through a mostly empty room, and a very cute guy was going the opposite way towards us. It was like a hallway, narrow enough that we had to turn sideways to pass each other. Music filled the small space through speakers, swirled around, and pushed us together. I wondered what my face looked like, full of joy and maybe shyness, as the guy moved himself in my direction and against me, and my hips took over and moved themselves to the beat and his rhythm. And we moved, and oh my gosh, it was as fun as I had hoped. I could do this with him all night. And after a couple of minutes, he moved on past us, like they do, smiling at me. I came back to myself and looked at Erin. Her mouth had dropped open, and in a split second, I felt appalled and almost said, "I'm so sorry for ignoring you for so long, and I'm so sorry for embarrassing you with my horrible dancing, and I'm so sorry I didn't invite you to dance too." Before any words left my mouth, she said, "Oh my God, Janae, you can dance!" "For real?" I asked, my body still humming, wanting to follow the boy. I put my hands to my flushed cheeks. "You're not just being nice, making me comfortable so I keep going?" She almost shrieked. "Not at all. You can totally dance." All my breath left and then blew back into me as a full flush glow. I can dance. Parentheses. This was one of the best moments of my life, truly. Every time dancing afterwards was only a cherry on top. I'm grinning like a little kid, even as I type and talk to you. Still. Oh, thank you, Erin, I said as I hugged her. Strobe lights hit the dancing masses now, filling the main dance floor. We stood on the side. I scanned for the cute boy from the hallway. Another drink, Janae? Erin asked. Yes, I said, hoping my courage would arrive soon. So many very cool people. Hey, look, said Erin. There are balconies. I looked up. We should go up there to see it all. Drinks in hand, we searched for stairs. At the foot of the first flight, a shutter-faced man stood at the door to a dark room. Good evening, ladies, he said, looking us up and down. Hello, we said in unison. He grinned. Come on in, ladies. Thanks, I said, wanting to ask his name for the record. I refrained. Is this the VIP room? Erin asked. What? The website said we had to pay extra for that. It sure is, he said, his eyebrow cocked. Cool, Erin said. Thanks, I said. And what is your name? He looked surprised, his cocky smile becoming more genuine. Justin. And yours? I shook the beefy hand he held out to me and said, Janae, nice to meet you. The pleasure is mine. I blushed a bit and went past him into the dark room. It was almost empty, which was a relief. The alcohol had gone to my head, not my cojones. Still a chicken, even with a buzz. We skipped the plush seats to stand at the balcony looking out over the main floor. The crowd had doubled. The space still had a holy power, filling me as I looked up at the vaulted ceiling. The windows' stained glass saints watched over most unsaintly people. But why do I assume that? You never know what struggles people endure. Would Christ in the glass approve of us? Would he be appalled or care so much that disapproval wouldn't even occur to him? As a man of his time, he'd be horrified. It's never struck me so clearly until this moment how radically Christ broke from his culture, especially in how he treated women. Perhaps he'd approve if he understood our caged culture, of the loss of dancing in modern life, the loss of joy. I know he would approve of the freedom. After all, he said, fear not. I imagined myself as a child here, perhaps a thin Catholic communion wafer dissolving on my tongue, chased with the real wine they used. We Nazarenes used tiny chalk-like biscuits I can still taste. When I wasn't listening to my dad preach, I counted the ceiling boards stretching from the pulpit to the entrance. Were they even? Could I count them all without losing my place? In that moment, looking out over gyrating masses, I became every person who'd graced the pews that used to march up and down the length of the wood floors beneath me. You know what we used to do when we went dancing? Erin asked. In the sparkle of her eyes, I could see the mischievous little girl still present decades later. I began to believe this night would be truly fun. What? I grinned with her, but I could not imagine. Well, we were 16, she said. How fun it sounds. I was 16 too, I said, but I was in church. At the beginning of the night, we would pick a guy we liked and we would stalk him all night, she said. Stalk. Go where he went, end up behind him dancing, follow, she said. The goal was to be dancing with him by the end of the night. Wow, I said. Do you want to do that tonight? She said. Her laughing eyes seemed to know exactly what was going on in my head. I'm married, but oh my, that sounds like so much fun. I said, about to form an enthusiastic yes, when suddenly the crowd erupted in cheers as a burgundy sash unfurled from the ceiling below us, next to a trapeze. Let's go, Erin said. I sighed inside. So much for the stalking. Crud. We raced for the floor and got a spot at the front, right behind a tall, muscular man wearing only white gymnast pants. He shimmied up the fabric, bungee cords wrapping his wrists. Cool. I could never do the rope climb in school. It's one of my I have arrived fitness goals for life, with yoga's scorpion posture and scaling Pike's Peak. He used the bungees like a gymnast's rings, flipping and flying, landing on the trapeze, then flinging himself off again. Why is he here? Is he a serious gymnast who needs money or who failed and is making the best of it? Would serious athletes risk themselves and injury at a place like this? What do gymnasts not good enough to reach the Olympic level do with their lives after their competitive run is over? I walked by the Olympic Training Center every day. Do they end up here at a club performing for people who could never even dream of doing what they do? Percy started walking by powering up from a squat at 8 months old. Would he have what it takes to reach Olympic level? If he didn't, would he end up here? The flying guy walked away with a dark-haired, tan, fit, older woman in a tight black dress. Is she his mother? Later, VIP guard Justin said she owned an entertainment company specializing in this type of performer. Wow. Cool job. Another world. Turn around. I said at the beginning that it's been really uncomfortable to see what I thought and how I disagree with a lot of it, or I just don't think the same way since the 12 years since I did this. I have a feeling that's about to start again. Okay. Here we go. Turn around. The music started again, and the crowd started whooping, fists up. DJ Irene had arrived. I stood on my tiptoes to see her across the packed dance floor. Excuse me. Ooh, you should not maybe drink this. Okay. She was buxom with a bleached blonde mohawk. Her sequences had arc and structure, but as the night progressed and songs never started or finished, Aaron got frustrated. That's goddamn fucking in excess, damn you! Play the whole song! Parentheses. When I first wrote down what happened that night, I spelled it in excess. I was in church. But I liked it. DJ Irene yelled, "Are you guys ready to have sex tonight?" And the crowd roared. How did they know? Second drink in me, I was ready to dance. We moved into the crowd. I wanted to be in the middle and past Darren, who waved, dancing with two tall, hot, blonde guys. I found a spot that felt good, and my body started taking over. I did not know what I was doing, but DJ Irene was an artist. When her beat climaxed, everyone stopped dancing to focus on her, fists in the air, pumping to the beat, jumping up and down, yelling, frenzied as the music intensified into one long note, almost too loud to bear until it resolved back into another arc. She's got to be crafting these according to the arc of the orgasm. The beat was pounding its way out of my stomach, my hips swaying and twisting, more Latin or belly dance than hip-hop or punk, obeying the backbeat and longer rhythms. So I danced alone in what became a crush of crowd, all of us bumping into each other. One nudge became a hand softly grasping my right hip from behind. He, I hope it's a he, moved closer after I placed my right hand on, I looked down, yes, a guy's, his hand. We moved to the main beat at first. I did not want to look at him, wanted him anonymous. Is this what people call kink? Yikes! Why do I want that? I'm just nervous. His left hand now held my left hip, my left hand joining his. Nice hands, long fingers, gentle but firm. My hips began to coax his to move a little slower. We found our rhythm, slow, then fast, swiveling, then, well, grinding. Right, left, bam. Left, right, bam. This is beautiful. A guy with rhythm. As DJ Irene's sustain built, I could feel the question in his body. Why won't she turn around? I didn't. Why? I will never know. We paused as DJ Irene transitioned into another song. I felt resignation in his body and the one hand still grasping my hip. I peeked over my right shoulder. Tall, Latino, dang, nice face, white teeth, smiling over his right shoulder at his friend with his head cocked, eyebrows raised, and shoulders shrugging, as if to say, what's going on with this girl? Crap. I started to turn around and missed it by a millisecond as he let go and walked away, not looking back at me. Trapped. Why am I so shy? Ugh. I looked for him, a little desperately, the rest of the night, but he disappeared. I wonder if Erin saw me dancing like that. Would I be embarrassed if she had? I don't know. And then there she was, dancing with the same boys, her huge smile lightening my regret. They were cute, I said. I love dancing with gay punk rocker boys. How can you tell they're gay? You just can, Janae, she said. I can't. No gaydar, she said, shaking her head. Nope, I said. Never had it. Parentheses. I can't tell you how many gay guys and lesbians I've unknowingly flirted with. I've always noticed personhood and personality before orientation or gender identity. No gaydar. We returned to the VIP room, back to the balcony's railing to watch below. My legs ached from the high-heeled sandals I had worn to look sexy, so I put my right foot up to my waist in a stretch. Only when my foot bumped into him did I notice a guy standing very close to us. Why so close in this empty room? Parentheses. Do you see what I now realize? It should have been obvious that he was flirting with me. I didn't see it. Hopeless. My shoe hit him at the crucial height. Parentheses. Back then, I could not say cock. Let us imagine I wrote package or jewels or some other appropriate euphemism. Sorry, we both said, and he caught my eye. Well, hello there. Am I right in thinking that was a foot? He asked. Average height, brown hair, impish face. Yes, I said. I needed to stretch. Excuse me. His eyebrows rose. Then he looked out over the crowd. Parentheses. This would have been my cue to repeat the sorry for bumping him so he could say he was impressed with my flexibility. So I could demur, thus initiating the hard flirt. I did not know this, and perhaps even now, in the moment, I would revert to the cluelessness that's still so much a part of me. I'm saying nothing about that on this video because, of course, I'm not still that clueless. I gulped water and wished Erin would bring up the whole stalking game again. She seemed transfixed by the crazy below us, though, and I thought it would seem desperate if I asked to play so late in the night, so I said nothing. We headed to the dance floor again. Cute boy followed us down the stairs. I told Erin I wanted to see what it was like right under DJ Irene's platform, thinking maybe the guy would want to follow. He didn't. I tried to move my body as much as my atrophied dancing self could without a guy and scanned for Latino man, And then 2 hands hit my hips from behind. Latino man. But no, I was not so lucky. This guy, decent looking, in a Cro-Magnon way, had rhythm like a metronome. I tried several times to coax him into the complex gyrations I had shared with Latino man, but he seemed confused by anything but the 1 and the 3, the obvious beats. No woo or flow. It was getting late, though, so I kept trying. I shall call him Meat Hands. And then Cute Boy was a few feet away with a girl right there on the dance floor. They danced apart, then melded, kissing long and hard. Dang, they're sexier than anything out here. I watched them, wishing I were her. Damn, he knows how to dance. Do they know each other? Would it be good for 2 people irresistibly attracted to each other to let it out only on the dance floor? As I wondered, transfixed, Meat Hands kicked it up a notch, pounding me from behind. I miss Latino man. I sighed. Fuck it. I started jumping up and down on high heels, thrusting my hips with his, my left fist raised in the air, my other hand preventing his surprisingly quick for being so meaty hands from wandering up. On the one hand, dancing with him was boring, but on another level, I didn't like admitting the guttural had power. I preferred the art and complexity of Latino man, but flung my head back and forth, and in the midst of mediocre dancing and disappointment, I let go. Though the beer he still had sprayed my newly pierced nose, it was worth it. When the sustain ended, I tried to move away, but Meat Hands held on for dear life. I looked directly at him, and though he was not hideous, I would not have picked him out of a crowd. He shrugged in an awkward imitation of Marlon Brando, trying for sexy, masterful, oh dear, as he contorted his whole body into, come on, baby. I extricated my crushed fingers from his. Oh dear, his hand is on his heart. Gotta go. I nodded and half bowed, mouthing, thank you, and kept backing away, shaking my head no. His grinning friend came up to him as I turned away and pounded his arm as men doing congratulations, and Meat Hand cocked his head and shrugged, as if to say, you can't win 'em all. Cute Boy and his gal shot apart like repelled particles. Had he seen her from the balcony and sought her out? Or was it random? I'll never know. DJ Irene yelled, "Are y'all gonna suck some pussy tonight?" And the crowd roared as I meandered alone through the crush, wondering, why did Meat Hand's friend congratulate him? Was he desperate for any female interaction, or did he consider me such an amazing prize? Weird. Parentheses. It is its own special, oft painful thing, how childbirth changes a woman's relationship with her body. I had forgotten my beauty, though I didn't understand how others perceived me favorably until years later. I felt deflated, like it had all been a waste because I didn't get to dance with someone as great as the guy in those first brief minutes. The mood of the crowd had changed, and the night wrapped itself around me as I moved even closer to the front, searching for one last dance partner. Wanted, dance partner, attractive, must look at me with flirting eyes, be available and have rhythm. I found none. Still a little dizzy from drink number 2, I went into the foyer and sat on a bench next to a candle-filled alcove. The lights and pulsating crowd bounced in front of me through stone arches. Holy cow, I'm tired. I wonder what time it is. Excuse me. As the crowd started flowing past me, mostly out the front doors, I was grateful to rest. A handsome man sauntered by and bumped my foot. He looked down and did a double take at me, then walked on. Then, while I was not looking but knew he was, he turned around at the doors, walked by again, staring straight at me, and bumped into my foot again. "Oh, so sorry, honey," he drawled. I raised my right eyebrow. "No worries." He worked his way to my right side, facing the candles, and looked down at me. He was tall, and I was still seated, and it felt like I was looking up at a preacher or priest or God. But hell no, I'm not getting up. My feet hurt. He frowned. His eyes widened, and he tilted his head toward the candles and pursed his lips as though he invited me into mystery and intrigue. He waved his finger through a candle flame to impress me. Suddenly, I was back on an Ohio playground in 2nd grade when Jeff, a gangly blonde classmate, said, "Come on, Janae, hit me." He punched himself in the stomach like Tarzan. "Come on, hit me as hard as you can. I can take it." I had never noticed his abs, like small rocks all in a row. I looked up at his scowl as he kept hitting himself so hard, and I realized I liked his tough little face. I can't hit him. I wish I could smack this guy, though. He dipped his finger into the candle wax and held it before his wide eyes, turning his finger to let it drip down. And then he smeared a stripe down my arm. That did not just happen. Immobilized and trying not to laugh incredulousness, I said nothing. And he did it again. "Okay," I said, my intonation final. "That's enough now." He pursed his lips again, waggling his eyebrows and widening his eyes as if to say, "Hey, baby." "Thank you," I said, looking away. Can he tell I'm trying not to laugh at him? I heard DJ Irene thanking everyone for a great night, admonishing them to go get fucked and have a fucking good time. Candle Wax Man swept away in the flood to the door as the lights came on. 2 a.m. I was exhausted, but my feet would have forgotten the pain if dancing with a cute guy. Alas, no chance. Instead, I floated outside with the tide. Erin wasn't in sight, so I climbed on top of a bench to spot her. After being accosted by a bleary-eyed, cigarette-reeking, but sadly sweet man who would not take no for an answer and did not care that I was married with children, usually a sure turn-off, I spotted Erin across the police-packed street. We walked the half block to the car where she smoked a cigarette, and we watched the end-of-night clubbing tableau. It was a quiet moment until Erin said, "I just kissed a total stranger." "What?" I asked. What? Her words hit me like a hammer. "I just kissed this boy I was dancing with," she said. Her face was the crazy, gleeful of, "I can't believe I just did that." Lifelong nerd envy seized my throat, and I barely got out. "How? What happened?" I even laughed. Look at you laugh, lying like you don't care. Yes, Janae, laugh. "I was dancing and talking with this cute boy," probably one I would have liked, "and he asked if we could hang out more tonight," she said. "And?" I prompted. I thought they were all gay. "And I told him I'm married and have kids and can't do that with him," she said. "And you should have seen his little face. It just crumpled and fell." "Yeah? She's so adorable, and I love my friend, but we see things so differently. His little face? Then we just ended up kissing, French kissing," she said, shrugging with a little incredulous giggle. "And that was it." "Wow," I said. She carefully buried the cigarette butt in the dirt of a planter next to the building, and we got in the car and started home. As I drove, my mind stuttered and skipped, time wrapping itself back and forth around me. My night was complete, full circle, back to being the not pretty friend the boys never saw. I hadn't been with Aaron when the kiss happened, but it wouldn't have changed a thing. I would have sat, envious, and not made it happen for myself. Parentheses. Even in my naivete, I knew it to be my choice. Erin chattered about her way more fun than mine night as we found our way back to the interstate that was a short single hour from home and Colorado Springs normality and my mom, my life as a mom and a wife. Do I want to be perceived differently? Do I want to kiss total strangers? Well, maybe if they can kiss. I loved kissing and could suddenly imagine kissing a total stranger, completely apart from relationship. I miss the discovery of kissing new men. But do I want to be perceived as the type of girl they think they can succeed at kissing? Why do we make them work to get something we want as well? It's so simple, such an ancient impulse. I want them to fight for my attention, to surprise me, to win that kiss, to deserve it. But no one has ever chosen to do that. Jack had to be strong-armed into calling me for that first date. So I've always inferred that I am not worth fighting for. Damn it all. Damn me for still thinking this way. Damn them for never proving me wrong. I blurted out, "Are you going to tell your husband? What are you going to say?" "I don't know," she said. "I mean, of course I'll tell him." Envy at the openness and maturity of their relationship and hope for mine washed over me. If she could tell him, perhaps I could have told Jack and he would have been okay with it. I missed my chance. How the hell did I miss experiencing the edge? Am I so lame? It must have been my outfit or my face. Good grief. Next time, and my dancing fool body demands a next time, even now. I'll just go for slutty instead of sexy. Maybe I could go back next week. I should have turned around with Latino man. He was into me and I blew it. No one's fault but my own. Not Erin's. Mine as usual. When Erin fell asleep, her face looked peaceful, even pressed against the window. We had approached the night so differently. That was clear. She plays the spotlight, and I court it until it chases me. She approaches men freely. I'd rather they come to me. I want to be a challenge to them. She bebops right up to them. I ignore them. Thing is, Erin had a lot more fun than I did. I slapped my cheeks and ate dark chocolate to stay awake. After dropping her off, I walked into our little house at 3:45 a.m. Dead tired, but wired from the chocolate, I stayed up, soaking my nose piercing and drinking detox tea until 5:30 a.m. The children woke me at 8. I got an hour's nap when Jack got home late afternoon. The next night, I slept from 4 to 8:30 and still went back to sleep at 11 and slept all night. Finally, the next day, Saturday, I told Jack all about it. Parentheses. I do not recall telling him I wished I had kissed a boy. He didn't seem to react to hearing of Erin's kiss, and my despair deepened, twisting somehow in the complexities our marriage had been enduring. Difficulties I was suddenly seeing had been there all along. Journal. It is eating at me. It is eating at me. So much to process from that night. It bugs me that Erin sounded so motherly toward this boy she kissed. I don't feel motherly just because I've borne children. I feel motherly toward my children, but not at all for others, no matter how much younger than they are than me. I feel on par with most adults if they're past 18 usually. Why do people keep insisting on and reinforcing these differences? Sure, generational differences exist, but must they build walls? I see bridges where others require walls as far as age goes. It always seemed like a construct, a defense mechanism against aging. Parentheses. Aaron had known and seen boys like this before many times. I only saw them as men. She could see them as boys. And it is only with the experience of the last 9 years that I understand her feeling. I've always operated outside age lines, seeing just people, paying no attention to age. But now, as I swim in midlife, I have finally begun to understand. A little. Journal. It's the day after, and I'm crying, and I'm angry and crying. No matter how sincerely or often people tell me, I'm still incapable of believing in my beauty. If I believed it, instead of pulling a few wild oats off the stalks and observing, analyzing, and describing them, I'd throw them up in the air as high as they would go and let them fall where they would and let them grow. Parentheses. This false belief held me until only recently, that being pretty would solve everything in life. Instead, I'm attempting to, this is journal still. Instead, I'm attempting to meticulously plant my wild oats in rows, feeding them just enough to sprout. No water or fertilizer, nothing that might lead to wild growth, their very nature. No leggy stems or full-blown seed heads or taproots so deep I can't pull them. Orderly rows in civilized soil. I don't want unbridled growth. Do I? Most people have wild oats they wish they hadn't sown, dried up stalks from youthful escapades. But mine are finally rooting. Will they behave? Do I want the wild growth of midsummer? Should I? Number 1, I wish I'd turned around. Number 2, I wish I had dressed sexier, sluttier, subtlety not effective in that environment. Number 3, why do I wish these things? Journal. Do girls who go clubbing a lot get reputations? Will have sex to music. Leads, you follow. Stiff as a board. You shall not touch this. Journal. The stress of this, being tired, is getting to me. I panicked inside a dream. This rarely happens. Because in the dream, I discovered that I'm pregnant. I have dreamt that I was pregnant every time it has been true. I woke with a sick stomach. Please, God, no, not right now. Please. It is too soon. Journal. I asked, begged, Jack to go to the clothing optional hot springs with me. These are your wild oats, he said. I keep feeling abandoned. Parentheses. With the hindsight of 9 years later, I finally see this clearly. I'd lost over half of my friends by then, many of them longtime friends. I could see his unwillingness to participate only as abandonment. I was incapable of seeing it from his point of view, of extending myself to feel compassion for his issues. Journal. I hate boogers. And in the week before clubbing, because my piercing had healed enough to shift, I applied myself to the snot stuck on my nose screw. Big globs of it, ick. The day after clubbing, I noticed a white ridge forming on the top. I searched nose piercing bump, and that both reassured and scared me spitless. So I went to see Toast. I told him of my beer-soaked dancing as he cleaned it, saying because it stung, it was probably an infection rather than hypertrophic scarring, a keloid, or a boil, proboscis nightmares. The next morning, I started hot sea salt soaks, and after a few days, it cleared up. But obsessively checked it. Being legally blind, my eyes can see up close like a magnifying glass. After I take out my contacts at bedtime, I get an inch from the mirror to scrutinize plugged pores before they become pimples. Every flaw glares. Seeing the piercing up close was crazy making. Everyone says how young I look, but I can see the flaws of age creeping across my face up that close. Hairline fractures in the inner corners of my eyes, little capillaries broken that give me what everyone calls a healthy glow. I see it all, and I know what it means. Death. It means death is marching itself across my face. I see it. Journal. Advice. When buying your first bra after nursing a child, start with a what might be too large size. Breasts change, as you know, and you will avoid the pit of despair by going from large to smaller. Mine have changed so much more with my third baby. David Walcott says, mellowed. That's the end of chapter 12. And David Walcott is a poet that you need to check out because he's amazing. Thank you that was a long chapter. Thank you for being with me. That was surprisingly, how do I say it? Excuse me. That's one of my favorite chapters because it's dancing. I haven't gone dancing in a long time. I need to rectify that. And I love that. I still get chills when I talk about what my friend said that you can dance. It was like one of the best moments of my life. It really, really was. Even including child, like it's top 10, like including my children's birth and all that. But I'm still, I don't know. There's some weighty stuff in there, and I'm kind of I'm going to unpack it at some point. So thank you. Tomorrow is chapter 13. And actually, we are just about almost halfway through the book. Woohoo! So tomorrow is Show Me the Glitter. And it's about going to a gay bar, a drag show here in Colorado Springs. Yeah. So I'll probably have to apologize for how judgy I was. Sorry. That'll be fun, right? I hope you'll be here for that. And forgive me. I don't have a lot of words tonight, so I'm just going to leave you with thank you again. And I hope you've had a great Saturday night. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. And you should try molasses in Earl Grey tea and coffee. Love you guys. Thanks again. Awkward.